I'll begin with introductions from our guests, who are UC Berkeley Chancellor Rich Lyons, UC Berkeley Director of Athletics Jim Knowlton, and newly minted General Manager Ron Rivera. Without further ado, I'd like to turn the floor over to Chancellor Lyons, who will, pun intended, kick things off. Chancellor?
Thank you, Roque. Thanks to everybody on this call, your support for Cal Athletics, and there's a lot of excitement here. So literally, it was about an hour and a half ago, I guess, that the final vote at the Regents came through. And there was a prior committee meeting yesterday, discussion of things, but lots of excitement at the regental level and even more excitement here at Cal. So Ron, as you know, was a stellar player at Cal. He bleeds blue and gold, as we often say, and he and I have been talking, and I don't think, I'll just say it outright. I can't think of a better person to play this role at Cal right now. And with all the changes that are happening that I don't need to remind this group of, right? That we've got a conference realignment that we just went through. We've got transfer, we've got house settlement in the offing, et cetera. It's exactly the right time to be thinking about and in our judgment, acting on a general manager position. I don't think there's a president/chancellor in a Power Four conference that's not at least thinking hard about a general manager position. And we think we have designed this one just right for Cal. So I think I'll stop there. I couldn't be more excited about what we are going to be able to achieve together going forward.
Thanks so much, Chancellor. Jim.
And I'll just echo what the Chancellor just said. We are thrilled. We've been talking about this position now for a while. We've watched the professionalization of college sports and in particular football. And we knew that to help our coach, to help our staff, this could be a huge benefit for our football program. And obviously, as the Chancellor said, there's no better person than Ron Rivera. And when you look at the commitment to this university, you look at bleeding blue and gold, you look at what he did both as a player, what he did once he left here as an NFL player, an NFL coach, a Hall of Fame member at our Cal Hall of Fame. You just have to smile when you think that he's going to be able to help us as we continue to raise the bar for not only our football program, but our athletic department and the entire university, because I look at Ron as this wonderful university resource, and he's been that for many, many years. And now it's a more defined position, but the help that he's going to give us is amazing. And of course, because I'm the athletic director, I can't go past without talking about Stephanie, his wife, who is another superstar. And when you think of having both Ron and Stephanie, a former athlete, a board of trustees member, you just smile and say, these are two truly special people that are now part of our team. So couldn't be more excited.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Jeff, I see your hand. We're going to roll into the introduction with Ron first, and then we'll get to those questions. Ron, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First off, I want to thank the UC Board of Regents, and I want to thank Chancellor Lyons for this opportunity for Stephanie and I to come home. As Jim said, Stephanie's a big part of this. Stephanie and I met on campus, and from that point on, the rest is history, as they say. But I do feel like I am uniquely qualified for this. I was a student athlete here at the University of California, and I am an alumni. So I think that's real important because, again, it gives me a different perspective, a perspective that a lot of people don't have, and what it takes to be a college athlete here at the University of California at Berkeley. So to me, that's a very important aspect to this. It gives me perspective, and it gives me an opportunity to share what I've been through with our student athletes. So I'm really excited about this. I'm fired up for the opportunity, and I really do think this is going to be something very special here at the university. So let's just go Bears.
Thanks, gentlemen. We'll open it up for questions. And Jeff, you had your hand up first. What do you got?
Yeah, for Ron. Ron, can you just talk about why this is something that attracted you, why this works for you? I mean, you've done an awful lot in your career, and talk about that a little bit, and also kind of, if you can define for us what your responsibilities and duties will be and what you hope to achieve.
Okay, well, Jeff, first off, to be upfront about this, this is an opportunity to come home and give back. The university has given me so much in my lifetime, and it was kind of the launching pad that got me going into the direction that I did, as far as playing professionally, and then ended up being an NFL coach, and altogether 36 years involved in the NFL. I think that this is what I really feel is something that's just exciting. And that's what it is. I think I'm looking for another challenge, another opportunity, but where better than to come home to the university and give back. And so I think that's a big part of why, Jeff, that I want to do this. I think the biggest thing, and the thing a lot of people understand, is that, the opportunity to do this is different because I had an opportunity to stay in the NFL, work as an assistant head coach, and mentor somebody. But, when I took a step back, Stephanie and I talked about this, mentoring somebody that really, I think needs an opportunity or support. Why not come home and do that? And Stephanie was all behind this 100%. In fact, she's the one who said, let's go. And so I think for me, this is what this is about. It's about helping the university grow. And I'm excited about that challenge.
And if I can follow up, can you delineate a little bit sort of what your responsibilities will be? It was described in a news release, a lot of fundraising, and obviously that's critical these days. How much might you be interacting with Justin Wilcox and the football team itself?
Well, for the most part, I'll be involved with the football team, every aspect of it. I think the best part about it is get an opportunity to work with Justin, talk to Justin, explain to Justin, things certain from my point of view, from a different perspective, something that he's probably hasn't heard. I mean, this will be different, and it'll be an opportunity for him to grow, but also get an opportunity to work with their other coaches, the assistant coaches, get an opportunity to share some insight, be available for them if they had questions. Look at practice, watch practice, have an opinion on that. Obviously be at the games, look at the games, see how things go. And again, give an opinion, and to share those thoughts, and then to work with Jim, talk to Jim, get his perspective on things. I mean, he's going to be a great, valuable resource because he's done this for such a long time. So having, the opportunity to do something different and new, and yet knowing that there are people that do this, have done this, that I can rely on as well for their advice and their direction. This is important. This really is. But the best part, most of anything else, is being involved in football. Every aspect of it is going to be really a unique situation. And, I really do believe I can share a lot of things. And again, not just with the coaches, but with our student athletes, guys that sit there and are trying to do this, trying to be accomplished as not just athletes, but as students at the University of California. That's a really interesting and important aspect of being a student athlete, and that is to come to the #1 public university in the world and play big time football. That to me is really what's exciting.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Coach. Over to Jim McGill, and then we'll go to Joaquin.
Thanks, Ron, and also Rich. I can't tell you how thrilled the Cal fan base is to have two guys like you that absolutely bleed blue and gold, strongly involved in the program and the university. So I want to say that first. And Ron, I wanted to ask, logistically, how does this work? As a GM in the NFL, you have hiring and firing capabilities. You're very personnel oriented. Is this more of a consultant role, or will there be some overlap in areas like that?
I think there's going to be some overlap, but again, you have to be nimble at this position because the landscape is constantly changing. We don't know what's going to happen week by week, month by month. I mean, it happens. So we've got to be able to be very, very flexible. I think working with Chancellor Lyons and knowing that, that's where it all starts. It's like dealing with an NFL owner. I mean, you have somebody that you are accountable to, somebody that you can come to, work with, and look for advice. I'll be able to collaborate with Jim Knowlton, a guy that's been doing, again, I said, he's been an athletic for quite some time. So that's a cool situation where somebody that has some ideas, some foresight, it'll be a working relationship. But the thing that I'm really excited about, again, is the opportunity to work with Justin. I do like who he is. I think he's done some really good things. This is one of the things that we talked about me coming in and being involved with, and that is to create more resources. And again, work with our alumni, work with our donor. I hope people understand too that what the chancellor's done is made an investment, not an expense, but an investment to bring somebody in to reach out to alumni, reach out to the donor group, and build that relationship, a relationship that's going to transcend athletics. It's going to transcend that portion of why we're doing this. to affect the university itself, especially in today's times with what's going on with the cuts from the governments, whether it be state or federal. These are things that we're going to need to be able to reach out to our folks and say, hey, look, we need your support. We need your help. Make this investment in the university. Don't look at it as an expense. Look at it as an investment for great things to come. And that's really one of the things that I'm excited about too, is being able to reach out and touch these folks and talk about how they can help impact positively the University of California.
Thanks. And just as a follow-up, the program has been close to turning the corner for several years where, missed field goal here, missed play here, a bad call there. But, 6 wins is 6 wins. And obviously, as a coach, the final record is the ultimate measuring stick.
Yes.
Taking a look at this program while you've been evaluating this opportunity, do you see the ingredients in place to be able to turn that corner? And what are a couple of the things that you see that could get this program going in the right direction rather than just on the edge of success?
You're exactly right about the edge of success. They were 9 points away in 4 games total, 3 games by 1. Okay, a couple of missed field goals. They made a field goal, we didn't. The difference is so close that you can sit there and measure it, but at the end of the day, it is about productivity. You do have to be productive. You do have to win. But I do like what I've seen. Early on in this off season, and when the first portal opened up, the personnel department went out, brought in 6 offensive linemen. One of the things that was a little bit of a soft spot last year, something that they needed to address. They went and addressed it. So far, based on the things that we've seen from practice, from workouts, from spring practice, there's some excitement because these guys shown that they do have some abilities. So now that's the first step. The second step is to finish up what's going on throughout, I want to say mini camp, but excuse me, from spring football, that we have to go ahead and make judgments once we get past it and talk about the direction we're headed in. So are we close? I do think we are. I think we've done some really good things with our personnel. I like the quarterback situation. I like the running back situation. I think we've got a solid tight end. We've got to have somebody step up and establish the number 1 wide receiver position. And as I talked about the offensive line, we're almost at 2 full offensive lines. We got 6 that we brought in, 3 from last season, gives you 9. I know that one of the things that we've talked about potentially is finding that 10th guy. So now you've got some depth, something that we haven't had in the past, Jim. And I think that's the thing we've got to continue to try and strive and grow on, is that we've got to get ourselves into a position, okay, by developing some sort of war chest and understanding that, hey, these are where our resources are going to come from. But that's why we've got to go out and we've got to reach out to our alumni. We've got to reach out to our donors and get them to understand that this is an investment in the University of California. And it's real important that we can get these folks behind us because we have been close. I mean, everything that this athletic department has had to struggle with and fight with really is trying to create more and more resources, hopefully that I can help and we can get to that point.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for the question, Jim. Chancellor Jim, I saw some head nodding and some finger motions there. Is there anything you wanted to add as Ron was speaking? Is there anything you wanted to add before we move on to Joaquin?
Well, I'll jump in first and then over to you, Jim, for anything. But there were some funders, some donors, some close partners to Cal who were on the sidelines. Who, when hearing that this was likely, it couldn't be a sure thing until the Regents blessed it today. But they were on the sidelines, and I can't pre-announce things, and I won't tell you which sports, but we've had some really lovely gifts come in over the last few weeks. Gifts, for example, that will get across the fully endowed finish line 4 different sports. And that's real progress. We started this year with 0 fully endowed sports, by which I mean the direct expenses are fully endowed. And we got a lovely golf gift, as most of you know, that funded men's and women's golf. And so that's 2. And now we're at 5, 6. And you'll hear more about that soon. So anyways, I think this tide is rising and we're already feeling it. If somebody says, where's the data? It's like, there actually are data.
Thank you. Jim, you want to add anything, sir?
No, okay, that was great. I mean, just listening to Ron gets everyone fired up, and I hope everyone on the call is feeling the same way. And he's already been a great partner and teammate for many, many years. And I think this will just be a continuation of that with all he brings to the table.
All right. Thank you. Over to you, Joaquin.
Yeah, first I'll go to Ron. We all know you and your wife so involved in the university and so proud of the university. What's it mean for you and Stephanie to be back and to be in these positions as, like you said, giving back to the university you love so much?
Joaquin, I think the really neat thing for Stephanie and we had this conversation before I left today. I flew out this morning to head back west. And as we were talking, I said, what's been really cool, Stephanie, has been the response we've seen from so many people. I mean, I get it. We understand, and we want to make sure our fan base understand how much we really do appreciate them being by our side. If you look at what happened with the Miami ESPN game day and how our fan base came out, the student body, the faculty, the alumni, the supporters, and the donors. I mean, that was a tremendous show of force of what we're capable of. And that's something people got to understand, that it's out there. They want it. And that's what's important. They want it because they showed us by that. And then you go and you look at what happened at the big game. Okay. We started a little rough, but thank goodness, it got rolling. Justin got the guys playing. And next, we ended up with a big time victory. And you saw the way the crowd reacted. This campus is ready. Again, remember, this is the #1 public institution in the world. We exude excellence academically. Why can't we do it athletically and do it the right way, though? That's the thing that's important. That's the thing that we have to do, Joaquin. We got to do it the right way. Okay, we've got to understand how we've got to make sure that our young men understand, and all of our student athletes for that matter, how important it is to carry on that academic tradition as student athletes. That's a very, very important thing. But I really truly am grateful for how much support we have got, though. Our student body, our alumni, our faculty, our donors. Those folks have been by us for so many years, and I know they've been tough, lean years. But you know what? It's time to change that. We have an opportunity to change that, but we have to do it together. Just because I'm here doesn't mean anything. Thing that it means is we've got work to do, and we got to do it together.
Do you want to follow that, Joaquin?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Rich to build on Ron's statement. Such a transcendent time. The NIL era is really changing sports. What's it mean to you to get someone to be the general manager, the inaugural general manager of the football program, who has been here as a student and as an NFL, icon and has so much experience? What's it mean to bring someone in like that? Since you've been here in particular, there's been a lot of, we feel the Cal pride that oozes off of you. And I think that hasn't been felt in maybe some prior years. So can you talk about what it means to get someone with an energy that can match yours on campus?
Oh, thank you, Joaquin. I appreciate the spirit of the question. Well, there's one word that leaps off the page for me with Ron, and that's collaborative. I mean, he's a connector. He's going to work with the team, I think, with all the other elements that you mentioned in your question, which are true. He is a consummate team player. And so that part of it is lovely. Some of you may already know that I happen to be the first chancellor of UC Berkeley that was an undergrad alum. So I graduated in December of 1982. So the play was 2 weeks before I graduated. And yes, I was in the stadium. I know everybody says that, but so the place is really deep in me. And I had the sense from the beginning, as I got closer to him, that boy, is it deep in him, and it's deep in Stephanie too. They're really kind of a 2-for-1. And so I think people sense that, and of course we need to remain committed to excellence, right? The excellence of our student athletes, right? We have to push our excellence in terms of revenue generation and fundraising, and we need excellence on the field, right? So and that's part of what Ron's saying. So we will be measured by how much excellence we deliver, and I feel like we have all the initial conditions in the right place now.
Thanks, Chancellor. Thanks, Joaquin. Why don't we go to Josh? You're on mute, sir. There you go.
Hey, Ron. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, first question is, how crucial was it? There maybe hasn't always been the institutional support at Cal for football, especially in athletics. How important was it that the support from the chancellor and the commitment to having a winning football team? How important was that for you to be willing to come and take this spot? Well,
I think it's very important because, again, we're all in. I mean, everything that we need to do is going to need support, whether the support's coming directly from the chancellor's office, from the student body, from the alumni, from the faculty. I mean, it has to be there. And that's the thing that we all have to understand. What's so important about this is that we are in this together. You know, Josh, it's not this one single side. We have to be together. And that's what gives you the chance. And again, to me, the greatest example of what the potential can be for this university as of recently was what we saw with the ESPN's Game Day. That's right there, to me, was an indicator of what we're capable of as far as a fan base, as of drawing interest and bringing the crowd together. I mean, that whole day rocked with the exception of the last 30 minutes. Okay. If we could have gotten past that last 30 minutes, just think of what potential it could have been. I mean, you know, those are things that we have to build on. Those are things that we've got to make sure that, you know, and you know, since, and the chancellor says this, let's celebrate our victories. Let's celebrate when something positive happens here at the university. Let's don't shy away from it. Let's go ahead and face it head on. Well, you know, again, being the number one public institution, it is a huge deal. And we have to take that and we've got to run with it. That's got to be part of our selling point. Again, if you want to be a true student athlete, you want to be challenged, hey, let's accept the challenge. You know, that's one thing that I've told, you know, other student athletes that have been here at Cal. Do you think you're special? You better darn well believe you are special, because you're accepting the true challenge of being a student athlete. You're not going somewhere that, hey, it's a little bit easier. Again, you're going to be counted on to do certain things. You're going to be asked to be something a little bit more, but that's part of who you're going to become. And that is somebody that's willing to do a little extra.
How do you go about making that Miami environment a more typical week-to-week environment as opposed to, you know, the outlier that it was?
Well, I think what you have to do first and foremost is obviously it is about winning, but you've got to put yourself in position where people are excited enough to say, you know what? I got to come check them out because they've done some pretty interesting things lately. You know, going into the portal, pulling 6 offensive linemen out, and then again getting to see them work the last few practices. That's been pretty exciting. So I think these are the things that we've got to continue to build on. But we've got to be able to go out and we've got to make sure people are making the type of investment that we need. Okay. Hey, we're not just talking when I say investment, all money. No, we're talking about interest. We're talking about your time, being on campus, being at the games, coming to special events. That's the kind of investment we need. Faces in the crowd. That's important. You know what I'm saying? That truly is important. And part of it is, hey, you know, and again, you know, this is part of where, you know, Jim Knowlton's going to come in, is his expertise on how do we bring these fans together. Okay. We've got to make sure our marketing plan is out there. We got to find out and sit down and talk to coaches. Hey, what is your theme for this year? This theme's got to be, shared with everybody. We've got to talk about this and build this up to get the type of excitement we need, but then we can't let down. We as a football team, the program, we've got to be successful. And that's the bottom line. When you win football games, you do put seats in the butts, but you've got to give them a reason to come first and foremost.
Yeah. And if I could just add, thank you, Ron, so we're leveling up the importance of football at Cal. That's what's happening here. And if somebody, look, I think game day wasn't just great. We were voted, right? We were named the best game day of all of the game days, right? It wasn't just, wow, Cal really stepped up. It was like, it was extraordinary by any standard, right? And people are just so ready. So for me, this is like, wow, this is a big investment and so forth, right? And it's sort of like alumni engagement is so important to how we drive our mission. It just is. So it's, you know, they send us students, they hire our students, they teach in our classes, they give guest lectures. Oh yeah, and we just finished a $7.3 billion capital campaign. And it's sort of like the idea that this isn't going to be mission relevant. So it's a leveling up of football, and at the same time, it's an investment of Berkeley getting even stronger at delivering on its mission. That's the bet here.
Thank you, Chancellor. I appreciate the question, Josh. Over to you, Emmanuel.
Thank you. Question for Chancellor Lyons. I wanted to ask you, how long was this sort of in the works? I know we saw it happen across the bay at Stanford first with Andrew Luck. So yeah, if you could expand on that.
Yeah, happy to. I mean, Jim and I don't remember, Jim, the first time you and I started talking about GMs and the model but the idea that the business elements of intercollegiate athletics have been transformed, no one would take issue with that, right? So the world has changed. There's just no question about that. And so Jim and I were talking about that many months ago, kicking around some early ideas. I was talking to a lot of advisors, not just about the GM role, but it's sort of like how much should we invest if house is in fact fully validated and 20.5 million is the cap. I mean, what's competitive anyway? So these things have been happening a long time. I mean, Ron and I started talking, I think in December, and some of that was just, could I get some advice from you, Ron? So we've been talking for a few months now, right? And I'm just absolutely delighted it landed where it did. But Jim and I were talking months before that.
And if I could follow up with you, Ron, how important is player retention going to be in your role as GM?
You know, it's going to be very important because, again, the one thing you don't want to have to do is develop somebody for somebody else. You got to give them a reason to stay. And I think we have a lot of resources already in place that have been put in place by Jim Knowlton and some of our sponsors. I mean, we have the Cameron Institute, which is something that really we're just starting to use. We got to learn how to tap into it even more. When I was in Washington, I was involved with it because I helped set up some summer internship programs for some of our student athletes. And that's one of the things that it's there for, is to help these young student athletes find direction beyond their sport. And so that's one that's very important. We have life after ball. It's something that we have directly in the football program. Okay, that one of our former players, one of my former teammates, Ron Coach Emilio, heads up for us. And that's, again, helping these guys connect with people beyond football, whether it's going to school to get their master's or it's finding work in the real world. We have these types of resources. We have an academic student learning center that we have for them to help them through school. So we've got these types of things covered. But the other thing, obviously, is when I talk about resources, we do need more resources to be able to retain players that want to get into the portal. You know, we got to make it so that they understand that we have a positive culture, a culture that's designed around the opportunity to be successful. And that's one of the things that will get players to want to come and stay, is that we have the right kind of culture. Again, I like what I've seen with Coach Wilcox. He's done a tremendous job. You know, he's really had to fight, a really tough battle because, again, we've been limited with resources. It's been hard. It's been very trying. And again, with the way the fan base has stayed behind us, the way that they've been there for us, hey, it's our turn to give back to them. So I really do think that there are opportunities and reasons why to stay here and be part of Cal football, be part of the university. And again, I'm going to hammer it too. This is the #1 university.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Jeff, why don't you take us home with the last question?
Yeah, thank you. This is for Chancellor Lyons. You talked about the momentum that athletics has right now and the fact that you think you've added 4 more fully endowed sports. And I'm wondering, what's your confidence level that 5-10 years from now you'll still be able to sponsor 30 sports? And how does Ron's arrival in some way play into that?
Yeah, well, thank you. Just to make sure everybody's clear on the front end of your question, we haven't added 4 to 5 new sports, right? These are existing sports that are now fully endowed. I just want to be clear on that. And I know you're clear on that, but to be clear. We have no current plan to shut down any of our sports. I'll just put that out there. We've done a lot of analysis on what that looks like, and there is no current plan to shut down any of our sports. The world could pivot radically in 2 or 3 or 4 years, right? I mean, conference realignment, if there's a super league, are you part of it? Are you not part of it? That's a pretty big, are you on the right side of the fork or the wrong side of the fork? So we can't make any commitments for the long run, but we are really I think of it as investing in optionality. Sorry to use kind of the jargon, but we need to be in the game. And if there's future disruption, and no one knows for sure, then we need to be in the game. And this is the right time to make sure we are very likely to be in the game. So another thing that somebody mentioned to me not long ago, somebody who's very close to the industry, this person said, Look, collegiate football, intercollegiate football is the second most popular sport in America. And it's paid like it's the fifth most popular sport. In other words, if you just kind of leave all who's going to get what and incentives and all the rest of it aside, this person was saying there's still a lot of economic headroom in the way college football is going to play out over the next decade. That's a lot better than if it were flipped the other way around. So we're not doing this just for the revenue potential, but we do need to be in the game.
All right. Chancellor, Jim, Ron, any final points you wanted to make before we wrap up?
No, just other than just I want to make sure everybody understands just how grateful I am for this opportunity for Stephanie and I to come back and be a bigger part of the university. This has been something that, you know, the two of us are really looking forward to. We most certainly are going to be all in, and we're going to do everything we can to be successful and help this university take the next big steps.
Jim, would you like to go next, and then I'll follow?
Yeah, I just think for everybody who's taken the time today, hopefully you sense the excitement from the chancellor to the athletic director to Ron. I think we all believe in this. I think we really, truly think that with Ron, we can take another step, and we have got to take another step. And Ron articulated we're so close, and this little piece can help us over the edge, and it'll be a big piece, right? And so, yeah, we're excited about Ron, both in football, both with development, engagement, and I think there's not going to be one alum that's not celebrating this.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Ron. I'll come back to where I think we started. This is an investment in excellence. Cal, UC Berkeley doesn't just talk about, but does everything it can to deliver on what we call comprehensive excellence. And part of what excellence means, part of what success looks like here is even more excellence in terms of how we develop our student athletes, number one. Number two, even more excellence in how we develop resources. Okay, resources, by the way, not just for intercollegiate athletics, but we stir up alumni engagement, and that benefits the whole campus. So excellence in how we develop our student athletes, excellence in how we generate resources, and third, but not least, excellence on the field, right? We have to deliver the performance, and we absolutely believe we can, but we will all be watching.
All right, wonderful way to end it. To all of you, thank you so much for your time today, your great questions. Appreciate hearing from you, Chancellor and Jim and Ron. And as they say, go Bears.
Go Bears.
Bears.
Thanks all.